first thing I want to do is just share a little heart meditation that I've come up with. It's called Clear the Air Prayer. I call it Clear the Air Prayer. And it's something that you could do every day to boost your own immune system. It's basically we're all a drum. You know, Baba Alatu says, you are the drum. And it's just a real simple heartbeat on your chest. You can tap it or just use this as you are the drum and do a heartbeat on your chest. And what this does is it stimulates T cells. Your thymus gland is here. And by tapping here or doing little heartbeats, it increases the T cells in the body, it increases the immune system. It boosts the immune system. So it's something you can do it yourself, and basically I call it a drum for peace. And so you just, while I'm doing the drum, do it on your chest, in a sense. So and if you want to join me, it's drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace for the Middle East. I'm drumming for peace for myself, at least right now. Which is most important, right? Self. We're drumming for peace. We're drumming for peace. We're drumming for peace for the Middle East. We're drumming for peace for ourselves, at least right now. And you can just speak it with me for a minute. Okay, we're going to do it. Drum for peace. I'm drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace for the Middle East. I'm drumming for peace for myself, at least right now. I'm drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace. I'm drumming for peace for the Middle East. I'm drumming for peace for myself, at least right now. So it's just a quick little exercise you can do for yourself when you get up in the morning, or before you go to bed. So what I wanted to talk to you about tonight, which is why we want to boost our immune systems, is because we have a lot of things out there that are, you know, kind of compromising our health and wellness and our immune systems. So with the spiritual practice of love and light and what we're doing with Heart Space also is to bring a positive light into our lives. Because a lot of what's going on in the outside world here is a lot of chemicals and electromagnetics that are challenging our health. So there's these chemtrails that are going around. They're spraying aluminum, barium, and chromium in the air to reflect the sun for global warming. They believe they're going to block the sun and the radiation coming from the solar flares and all that stuff, and they're going to send it back to where it came from. But that's not really happening. What's happening is it's intensifying the heat, actually. We have droughts around the world. We've got farmers that can't get the water, they can't get the seed, you know, they're having problems. There's 250,000 of them that have already committed suicide, okay, because they can't feed their families, they can't feed their communities. But we're up against that with the military, which is going around with 500 tanker planes, these refueling tanker planes, and they're spraying these toxic chemicals in the atmosphere. And it's been on a daily basis even here in Palm Beach. There is a big movement on it, and I'm actually in the process of taking some legal action. So the reason I want to talk to you about it today is because we're looking for more people in the community that are having problems with their health that we can help them with, and other people in their lives that are having challenges. You may know a lot of people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, we want to reverse that. We want to bring up the positiveness to this negative spin that's going on. So not only do we have toxic chemicals coming down on us from the air, we also have electromagnetics that they're pulsing into the chemicals themselves. So these chemtrails that they're spraying, they say they're blocking the sun for global warming. What's really happening is there's this kind of a sterilization going on in the planet with the people, and also a stunning effect with electromagnetics. There's a thing called HARP, and it's a harmonic resonance atmospheric where they're sending 1 billion watts of power up into the ionic sphere. They say they're going to make ozone and you know, block, you know, fill the hole that we have ozone depletion with ozone by putting chemicals and electromagnetics in the air. What's happening is people are sick with the upper respiratory conditions on the ground. A quick solution for that is what I use is oil of oregano. Just 1 drop of oil of oregano is a natural antibiotic. And you don't have to take antibiotics to get away from these. But it is like a flu-like condition. You feel like you might have a flu or a sore throat or a cough. What's happening is like this like crazy like whooping cough is up 25% this year. So the kids, you know, speaking of coughing, yeah, if you're coughing, 1 drop of oil of oregano, just 1 drop. You can buy it from me or the store, $30 for a drop for a bottle that lasts you about a year. And so we use that on a daily basis to kind of cleanse the body of any of the impurities, molds and funguses, and flu-like conditions that are coming from the upper atmosphere, these pathogens that are coming down. And so we need to know about this because we need to be strong to even think about reversing it in our own bodies. You know, we want to transmute these toxins out of our system. And you know, by bringing light and love into our hearts and cleansing the body's water, all the air that we're breathing as it's coming in, and just remembering that we need to filter what's coming in, just like we filter our water and our air in our homes. We can do it by consciously knowing that this is going on around you, and to, you know, be the solution for your own self. And if you see somebody struggling, that you know, you can either guide them to us, you know, our Florida Eco Network. We do the drum dance theater to raise the vibration, to raise awareness, and also raise the funds that it's going to take for legal action to stop this from happening. I was one of 20 people in the room where we fought against the Navy. We took we spent 5 years. We got 1 million signatures in California, in San Francisco, and the NRDC, which is the Natural Resource Defense Council. We had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. finally took a lawsuit against the Navy, and we won in San Francisco. A woman judge in San Francisco court ruled against the Navy to stop this sonar that they were spraying into the water. A lot of dolphins and whales, you remember, were beaching at that point. And that's why, because this electromagnetic field device was being sent into the water in the name of, you know, national security. They wanted to detect enemy submarines and things like that. But now they have these chemicals in the air, and they're kind of doing that in the airspace now too. So the chemicals alone are sterilizing, the electromagnetics is stunning. There's an effect going on, I call it the opposite effect, where people are reacting to each other rather than responding to each other. There's that negative spin is going on. They say, oh, the Earth's going to do a polar shift. Well, I think the polar shift has already occurred with the electromagnetic field devices that they have. There used to be one HAARP in like Alaska. I don't know if you have anyone ever heard of HAARP or Chemtrails?
Yes, the Navy.
Okay, so you guys heard of some of this. Someone bought the technology out of Alaska like for a few $1 million, and this is like a weapon of mass destruction.
It's from Nikola Tesla.
It's huge. It's a Tesla technology.
And gone wrong.
They have a way of sending it, these billion watts of power up into the atmosphere. And now they have it like in 30 different directions all around the planet. So they spray the chemicals in the air. There's 5,000 commercial jets going by, not to be confused by commercial jets, which are contrails. And sometimes you'll see a tail going on a plane, you know, as the plane's moving, and a little smoky trail. And those will disappear as the plane's going. It'll dissipate. It's a condensation trail. It's basically a vapor, water vapor that freezes for a moment, and then it melts away and disappears. But these are the chemical trails are long plumes. It almost looks like they're smoking, like they're spraying for mosquitoes, and it's pretty heavy on us right now. So people are feeling the heaviness in the air. Of course, all this extreme weather that's been going on also has been, and then, you know, they're doing this in the name of global warming.
But what is the real reason?
Experimental weather modification programs where they're going to control the weather, and which controls the water, the food, and the people. So what's happening was the chemicals in the air shooting electromagnetics into it. Think about it, metal flakes of chemicals with electromagnetics being pulsed into the air basically is dissipating the moisture in the air. This is why we have droughts, because they're actually zapping the moisture levels in the atmosphere. And that's why we have this 25 states of state of emergency right now. It's 2/3 of all the country, all the counties in our country are in a state of emergency on the agriculture. So the food prices and things like that. And that's a real solution, is if you have a plot of land, start growing your food.
What about the chemtrails?
Because we are in 2012. And, 2012 to the 2013, the whole Mayan calendar is coming, to fruition here. We have a 12-12-12 event coming up with the crystal skulls that are coming to Miami. And on 12-21-12, we're going to have the winter solstice, and it's going to be we're going to be a galactic center. Basically, we're going to be at the midpoint of the universe. It's kind of, they say, where we're starting. So we're going back to where we came from, and it's going to, we might have a little bit of disturbance on the way there. But once we get there, Venus is going to eclipse the sun, and we're going to be in more love and beauty than ever. So it's just a matter of getting there, and that's why I wanted to have the talk with everybody, so that to be aware of the environmental hazards that are going on, but be strong in your own spiritual self with the love and light that this community has for each other and for yourself. And that's what's going to take us through. No matter if there's a hurricane or an earthquake, a tsunami, there's been all these erratic behavior in weather. And with them trying to control the weather, there's a document this thick that the Department of Defense wants to own the weather by 2025. And we know they've already messed with the weather at 2005 with Katrina and Rita. We saw the hot spots in the radar where they were actually pulsing electromagnetics. They seed the storms with metal flakes of chemicals, and then they were able to push storms around. They pushed that storm away from Texas into Louisiana. That was pretty dramatic. And the meteorologists that actually saw the radar, they saw the electromagnetic fields in the radar. They couldn't disseminate the information because Bush had a gag order on this kind of stuff. But they did open a website called weatherwars.info. And weatherwars.info will show you how they're using weather as a weapon. They can make dust storms in Afghanistan. They can send electromagnetic fields up and bounce it off satellites and put it where they want to do it. HARP Haiti was a whole nother, the HARPs are on during Haiti's earthquake, also Japan, and this is kind of stuff that's very mind-blowing, really. And, some people don't want to hear about this kind of stuff. I've lost some friends and family. 7 years ago, I made my documentary on the chemtrails. I left Santa Cruz, California, and went to Maui, Hawaii. We had beautiful organic farms and eco-centers there. And then Dalai Lama came to Maui. And as soon as he was done speaking to us, about 10,000 of us, they came and sprayed all of Maui. And they just kept going. Mount Shasta, Maui County, Maha County in Arizona now, they're all taking lawsuits against this action. They're going to muzzle these planes. I'm going to start the action here in Florida and New York, and we're going to join in. There's a big conference in LA, the Chemtrail conference, that's coming up.
Fuel?
In 2 weeks.
Is it in the fuel or what?
No, it's actually, they have these refueling tanker planes. It's not in the fuel. And, maybe in the beginning they did it that way and the people thought it was a mixture in the fuel, but they actually have tanks inside the planes with nozzles coming off the wings.
They have pictures of it if you look it up.
All you have to do is Google chemtrails,
You can see
and
the
you'll get
inside of
all
it.
sorts of information on it, and you can see the planes. Whenever you see those lines, you'll see them crisscrossing the sky. It almost makes a checkerboard.
Right.
And if you notice, if you recall, years ago the sky was really blue. Now it's not really very blue. And it's very difficult to see stars, and it's not just the city lights.
Yes. On our Florida Eco Network,
The commercial planes are
it's,
All
it's not
sorts
the
of-
commercial planes. There's 5,000 commercial planes, but there's 500 refueling tanker planes that the military own. They go through Air Force space.
This
And-
is not
and-
passenger planes.
Huh?
This is not the typical American Airlines.
It's not American Airlines. No, it's military
You got
tanker
it,
planes.
Daniel.
Actually, they're in the process of trying to build another 200-300 of these. They want to spend $100 billion going through, and we're trying to stop that action right now. We stopped it a couple years ago because they didn't bid out the contract, and Boeing had the contract on building these stores, these planes, and we stopped them for a little while. But mainly, I wanted to give you some insight of what's happening around you, in case you're wondering why you're not remembering things. Okay, because aluminum oxide is the #1 ingredient of chemtrails. Aluminum, barium, chromium, very heavy metal, toxic, even radioactive. I mean, they did a metal detector on the top of Mount Lemon when it snowed just recently, and they found, and the metal detector was going off the charts. There's 6,000 to 60,000 times the toxic levels of aluminum in the top of Mount Shasta, the spring-fed lake, 6,000 feet up.
And then they
So
sell you drugs for
we know it's not.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So, yes, so Alzheimer's has doubled in the last 10 years. I've been tracking this for the last 10 years, and it's been pretty dramatic. We just saw it like in the full moon just the other night. I mean, they're saying they're blocking the sun for global warming, but we've seen them spraying at night. Florida is known for these night sprays. And I left California, you know, like 10 years ago because they were spraying so heavy there. It was like a dozen planes flying up and down the coast all day long, just spraying. I was wondering why they're spraying so much over in certain areas. It was where the food and water resources were, you know, and then where heavy populated areas. Music concerts. The Rainbow Gathering, even in the middle of nowhere, 30,000 of us. We took Ramdas to the Rainbow Gathering before moving to Maui. And he's doing Darshan down below. Noon, 4th of July, it's in my documentary. You can look it up on the Florida Eco Network, and I'll give you cards to go. You can click on my documentary. We're at the Rainbow Gathering, Omen for World Peace at noon, 4th of July. And here comes the military, spraying on both sides and right down the middle. It just changed the vibe from this beautiful, loving vibe into this, like, disconnect. So when this disconnect happens, this is why I want to bring it up, is that we come back into our own balance, and the drumming actually, it helps me every day, you know, to come into balance. So I just wanted to like briefly tell you some of that, you know, and if you want to know more about it, you can look on our Florida Eco Network. We have the Green Village there, the Drum Dance Theater. That's, you know, our activism. My brother here, he's at ICTV1.com and Palm Beach Television, and we're busy getting this information up to a lot of people. And we do arts and entertainment to raise awareness.
What's the name of your documentary?
The documentary that I made? The documentary I made is called Haze. Actually, it's Chemtrails versus Contrails. It's to show the people the difference between the chemtrails and the contrails. It's actually called Haze because it's creating a haze in the air. And people think it's just moisture levels and things like that, but it's really...
No, we Google Haze, we'll get it.
You can go on YouTube, and the Florida Eco Network will show you a few of the documentaries that I've made. And you can just Google chemtrails, and you'll see dozens of sites and thousands of references. On Facebook now, the reason I'm actually on Facebook and social networking, I've been Twittering Stop the Spray for over a year now. And we have on Facebook, we have dozens of sites with thousands of people all over the world posting every day pictures and videos and actions that they're taking. And now they're all coming together in Los Angeles for a huge conference that's going to happen. And you can also see it online. It'll be live online. So, any questions?
Have you contacted any politicians about this?
I have talked to
Nobody's
mayors and councilmen and yes, Dennis Kucinich himself wrote a resolution to delete chemtrails from the Department of Defense. He's a Democratic congressman. He was running for president. You know, he's a vegan. You know, he's a kind of cool guy. And my friends were financing his campaign in California, so I got to get close to him and asked for his help and support. My brother and I actually went up to Washington and we filmed the 50th anniversary of the Peace Corps. And we got really, it was amazing up there. And I walked the halls of Congress. I cut my hair up. I had a ponytail coming from Maui. Cut my hair up, put my green suit on, my green tie, walked the halls of Congress and went into as many states as I could to bring the environmental message in and find out. And Dennis Kucinich himself, he came down and he spoke to the Peace Corps group in the Kennedy Caucus Room. My invitation, hey Dennis, can you come and speak? You know, see the group. And he came down and spoke at the podium where like Kennedy announced his his presidency. But that that kind of activism I'm doing. You know, so if anybody has any thoughts, we're also putting the Blue Sky Jazz Band together. Is what you're seeing here tonight. Is some of us playing for the first time, others we've been playing for years, and we'd like, if you have a place, if you'd like to sponsor an event, and we'll come and do a special event and raise some funds for the legal action.